The public defender, Ann Taylor, is still on Bryan Kohberger's case. She has not recused herself, and she is back in the news again tonight. Prosecution asked her to share any evidence that might tend to prove Kohberger's innocence, and this week she responded. It's called a discovery request. She said that they have nothing to turn over at this time, writing, and I quote, "There are no books, papers, documents, photographs, or copies, or portions thereof in the possession of the defendant at this time, which will be submitted at the time of trial." And she goes on to say there are no results, reports of physical or mental examinations or scientific tests which are in the possession of the defendant at this time. Joining me now is Jennifer Coffindaffer. She's a former FBI special agent with 28 years in federal law enforcement. So Jennifer, hearing about, I'm going to get you to sort of respond to all of the things that we're reporting tonight. This new information coming from sources close to the investigation, and then, of course, this new response to the request for discovery. So let's start with the new information. Your thoughts?
Well, the new information coming forward, depending on how you really look at what the coroner said, if you look at the coroner's notes, he or she actually came back later and sort of recanted her initial statement and basically said, no, they weren't really all in bed. So we now have really two statements from the coroner regarding what she saw that night. So I would be in agreement with your other guests that both what the coroner said previously and what we know now could comport, because I think they were said in very general terms initially.
There's also so much discussion about this potential conflict of interest. I know that the rules of conflicting are slightly different in Idaho, but I keep coming back to this could be a death penalty case. So I don't think you can cut any corners anywhere and assuage any sort of conflict at all if you're dealing with a case that could end up as a death penalty case. What's your read on that?
You know, I agree with you, Ashleigh. The bottom line is the rules are definitely lax when you look at both the case law and also their regulations. And actually, in one of the court rulings, they even described it as sort of relaxed in terms of their conflict. And this just isn't a situation where you can operate in the gray. We know that the defense is going to put forward a very strong argument, and that could entail drugs. And there could be a nexus that they try to establish. And based on Kara's background, that could be an issue. And I just cannot understand why anyone in the abundance of caution would continue to represent.
And that there hasn't been any kind of public addressing of this issue at all. Maybe there's been an in-camera meeting, but we don't know anything about it. Last question for you. I want to read you something that really tweaked. This was fascinating in the state's response to the request for discovery. So, to the extent that information exists regarding an informant who is not going to be produced as a witness, including recordings or written statements of an informant, or that identify such an informant, such information is not subject to disclosure. And the state asserts informative privilege and prays for appropriate protective orders as necessary. An informant? I mean, should we assume there is one? Or is this just in case there is one? Help me sort through the import of that.
Well, when I first read that, Ashleigh, I was very convinced that there is an informant or informant information that is going to come forward. If there weren't, they would have simply addressed that they don't have any such information, and it would have been in the negative. But because it's worded this way, I think that there is some informant information.
Well, I can't wait to find out what that is. Jennifer Coffindaffer, thank you. And I'm going to ask you to stay, too, because I have some questions for you a little later in the program as well. I'm going to move on to this other story that we're following, though. It is high drama in the... Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.